Wow, another marathon of interviews and still going on. I think I need all the energies of you lovely people outside. I think this shout outs, this claps and likes are making me so much probably energetic that in fact, in spite of my time at 7:46, it's almost like 12 hours non-stop. I'm doing these interviews, and I've been inviting so many different people who are like really credible with their own industries. And now I have got somebody special as well. Well, before I can introduce you to Som, um, just to tell you, there are a lot of challenges everyone faces. But this time I want to have this interview in a different way. So Som, why don't you introduce yourself and let's see how you can take this interview to the next level of adding values to the people who are watching this video locked inside. They have nowhere to go and we have the right values to spread. Over to you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for, inviting me for this call. And this is a very different concept. And thank you for handing over the ball to my code, because this is what I do in my podcast. So, yeah. So it gives me immense pleasure to, talk about stuff, talk with people, bring out their stories. So now you have given me the ball in my court. So in brief, to tell about me, I am the podcast host of Intensify Humanity podcast. And there I have interviewed some of the global leaders from across the globe who has undergone through immense challenges in lives. And instead of giving up, they have bounced back and are revolutionizing and intensifying humanity and life in their own domain. So that is one aspect. Next is I'm the author of my book, best-selling book, that is 7 Steps from Shame to Being Back in the Game, which describes a portion of my life story and what exactly are the learning from it, how I came out from those grave, horrible challenges, the entire process and systems. Next is I'm a passionpreneur and intensifier mentor. So when
Wow.
I say this, mentor and a coach. So when I say this, passion training, of course, I help people to, build their business around passion, as well as intensifier. Why? Because we intensify all the negative things each and every day, starting from morning: anger, worry, anxiety, depression, everything. So instead of intensifying those, if we get in a loop, in a habit, in a channel, in a process, in a system of intensifying the little bit positive things, which will become like a snowball and it will gather more snow, and you will start intensifying the big things in your life, then see how your life changes complete 180 degree. So that
Nice.
is the concept behind it. So that is just a brief about me.
And probably, if I can take that brief to that detailed perception of yours, that one day when you said, okay, challenges, bye-bye, take care, I'm going to be, taking the another step or the next game. Can you tell about your experience on that one day, the transformation changed happened that one day? Because you yourself have been transforming so many lives now. Let me hear
Yes.
the legend by yourself.
So, of course, there is one day when some person takes enough is enough, but there has been a series of triggers in my
Absolutely. I
life
agree with you.
every day.
Yeah.
And then it became so big that it hit the wall. And then it was like, I have to do something about it. But then
Mhm.
again, the next day, it was like, can I do it? Then
Okay.
again, next day, yes, I have to do it.
Yeah.
So it was like in a cobweb. You're not able to come out, but you are trying to just come out of it. So I was in a heavy financial debt, and coming out of it, I realized money was not the problem. Money was just the trigger of the problem. So from being broke to, quitting my job, starting my business, being a host, writing a book, everything happened through a series of processes. So that one day which you are asking was the day when one night I realized that I have to do something about my life. Enough is enough. So there are certain things which came to my mind in this entire journey, some learnings which I so strongly believe, and I share that with the people whomever I meet through my podcast everywhere, that if you understand those points, you can just change your entire destiny. You can just change your life. There is nothing known as luck.
Mhm.
Many people might debate on this, but there is nothing known as luck. So that one day was a night when I was just sitting at past midnight, and it was like, I have to do something about it. And I took a diary and a pen and wrote all the problems and what are the things and what I can do about it. So that is just a crux of how it started.
Amazing. I mean, this attribute of having no luck to being lucky, or making the luck to work under your favor. How did you change this game? I'm like more curious to understand. Like, now you said that
So
that night, but now let's see what happens in the day.
some realizations, honestly speaking. So those realizations turned into a learning. So realization first was, uh, ignorance is not a bliss, it's a disease.
Super.
So that was one of my core realization I had. Like, people used to say, oh, ignorance is a bliss, but I was ignorant about money awareness, financial awareness. I was ignorant about psychology of people. I was ignorant about the patterns of human behavior, which I later got to learn from NLP and other stuffs. I was ignorant about my own potential, and what I can do and what I cannot do, how to react. So that is one aspect. The next aspect was, every problem has a hidden meaning. So the problems came in my life in a series. It was not just one problem, it came in a series. And every time there was a knock on the door, but I did not realize. But then finally, when I realized, I saw a massive range of opportunities. So life always pulls you down to show you, you are built for this, you are not built for this. So go ahead and take the risk, do whatever you have to do. And so many people, just like, uh, before this call you were saying, right, people just think about the problems, they cry about the problems and all. So another thing I realized is, not taking a risk is itself a big risk, in
Yeah.
terms of time, money, energy, relationship, health, whatever you say. So that is one of the aspect. So
Awesome.
these are the things which led to that.
Okay. I mean, with the best of my writing speed, I have noted down a couple of the points, but viewers, you can actually pause, replay back, because these are sparkles of amazing wisdom that is coming out straight from the person who has actually lived that thing.
Thank you.
So I would like to know, there has to be a reason, there has to be a realization that you mentioned, but this realization is incomplete if you are not implementing, if you are not putting that gut feeling, that action statement. So let's talk about what kind of actions do you think is apt for a person who is stuck like a situation like this, and he has no idea of, I call it as incompetitive ignorance. I have no idea about the problem, and when I don't know the problem, it's there inside me. So what do you do?
That's a very good question, because people wish, dream, and they know, I have to do this, then I will come out of this problem. I have to do this. The first thing, they think that they can't take risk, but they are already sitting on a volcano of risk that they don't
Yes,
realize.
absolutely.
The most important factor is being resourceful.
Yeah.
So I didn't know this word that time. When I myself became so resourceful at the point where it was needed the most, I learned the word later on. So even when I was in a debt of so many lakhs of rupees, I invested in my own self development. I didn't even know the word self development before that. I didn't know what
Hmm.
mentorship is, what this is, that is. So I invested myself in a mentorship program,
Mhm.
passionpreneurs, and then from there I'm invested in another mentorship program of 1 crore coach. So even when I was in a heavy debt, I invested, I became resourceful, because only one thing I knew: how people can take action. You asked, right? Only one thing I know: you can earn money, you can earn back anything in life, you cannot earn back time.
Absolutely, I
You
agree
will
with you.
never get the time back. So that is what kept me on fire. That is what made me being resourceful, be in any kind of situation. Take the example: if somebody is ill in your home and you don't have insurance, you don't have money, what will you do? You will break all mountains, all hills out there, and you will find money to save that person. So it is, you are saving your own life, and not just for short term, it is for long term. Because if you don't invest in your mind, forget everything. Forget, you want money, you want freedom, that is far off. You can't even know who you are. So that is the main thing.
Right. And I think when this pandemic has, or I'll put in other words, this Corona scare, I think that's a new word. Corona scare is like hitting in people. I think a lot of people who are infected or affected in other countries, they have already undergone this kind of realizations, because I think tough times makes people more aware of your inside potential, your your capacities inside, the resourcefulness that you mentioned. And I think India is yet to see a drastic change, because this problem is going to open up a lot of opportunities and inside beliefs as well. So this is an ideal, probably a situation that we're talking about these two things. And now I'm actually matching both the areas. And now you are asking me what was the purpose of this. This is the exact purpose, about blending the real life challenges. And this is a real time challenge which might come. So this is about more about preparedness, more about being resourceful, more about being taking precautionary measures than preventive measures. So with that, probably I would little bit deviate from the main topic, and I would ask you that you have seen the ups and downs of your life. You have seen some of the biggest challenges in terms of financial things, but there was one thought or one thing that was always keeping you straight, awake at night, awake with the right kind of energies. What was that, and how are you holding that same thing right now?
So that's another very beautiful question, because that one thing is the tagline of my book. That is, when life itself is temporary, how can problems be permanent?
Wow, that's great. That's great. So again, I didn't get the right answer. And I'm not going to leave this show here unless we know that.
That is because that one thing is this itself. Because what is the maximum thing that people fear? Death. Even though people don't accept that I fear death, they fear death. But death is inevitable. Your life is actually temporary. We are sitting here. There is no guarantee we would be there tomorrow morning. So life itself is temporary. And when I was sitting there and worrying about how to deal with problem, this is never ending, and this thing, so this too shall pass. The problems are actually temporary, because life itself is temporary. So this is the law of nature. The problems come to show you something. Like, take the example, the biggest example that a layman would understand is the examination in schools and colleges. Why do you even sit and cry while writing the exam? To go to the next level. So the
Absolutely.
problem comes here. So when you pass through the problems, you go to the next level of your life. So problems are indeed temporary. So that is the one thing.
So probably, if I need to sum up all these things, and the right example that I've given of the examinations, I think we pay people to find out what is the best kind of resources that you can find, who can check the best of your mistakes. We go to a school, we pay the money to what? To find out what is the best level of mistakes I'm doing. And I think problems comes as the teachers right now, who tells you, okay, this is the mistake shit you have done. Now you have to come out of this. And you need to find your own ways to do it, isn't it?
So, exactly. So everything is within. But the problem is, since centuries, the education system did not educate us. The system is structured such a way, it has never made you to ask questions. You only do what is written over there. And so you cannot think beyond the boundaries. You do what others are doing. If that person has started a business, I will start a business. If that person has opened up a restaurant, I will open a restaurant. If that person is doing a job in that sector, I will do a job.
Absolutely.
So the point that you mentioned, that everything is within and still we pay for things, it is because the self-awareness, the consciousness level is very, very low. And that is where, just like you mentioned, in India, the self-development industry or this domain is taking a massive leap, because right now people are understanding where they are currently and what is the exact situation in the world in terms of economic, health, whatever you say, and what exactly we have wasted all these years in terms of academic education system. So that awareness is rising now.
I don't know. I'll not say I am speechless, but I'm questionless now, because I think that summarizes almost everything. But now the good part is, before we say goodbye to this small discussion that we have, I would like you to probably let us know the kind of questions that can actually ask people about looking inside. Those kind of questions that can actually say people, okay, so here I am. And probably once you tell your part of the questions, I can tell you about something that I learned from my mother as well. There's 4 questions, and I think that is one of the biggest lessons that I learned. Over to you. I would like you to probably ask your questions. Give me around 1 or 2 questions which people at this stage, at this kind of a calamity, I'll not say, but I think a national crisis which we happen now. We are all at a fear stage. There are a lot of rumors around. There are a lot of, I'll say, I don't know, what do I say? Yeah, there's a kind of fear of unknown, I guess. That's the right way to probably put in one line.
Yeah.
So what kind of questions one should ask themselves?
So that's a very interesting one because there are lots actually, but few of the main things I will just highlight. Okay,
Sure.
the questions that you asked for. The first thing is, since you are talking in terms of this problem that is there right now in the world, the coronavirus, okay, if today someone is just reflecting upon this problem, one should ask oneself that what is the reason that triggered this problem, or if this problem is there, am I at a position to secure myself or my loved ones or my community or the people I care about in terms of their own domains, like for example finance, health, relationship. Taking insurance is not being healthy or fit. Being healthy is something, eating responsibly, taking care of your body and everything. Similarly goes for the financial situation. There is in the news that around 25 million jobs might be lost because of this situation economic. Can you imagine that? So you need to ask yourself, am I depending only on one source of income? And what kind of income is that? Is it mine? Or is there any chance that tomorrow the income will not be there? Did I create so much of value in the universe that there is a possibility that those things are going to come back to me in a positive sense? If you are not adding value to the world, if you are just consuming, then the universe balances it out in its own way. And we are seeing that.
Right.
So you need to first ask yourself who you are. Second, are you at the place where you wanted to be in life? For example, go back to your childhood and think what exactly you wanted. And then when you grew up, your dreams became a joke. Is that really so? Or is it the beliefs that you are working? For example, if I say that this is black color, you know it black color because somebody in your childhood taught you this is black color. So that is a belief. So if you think that, okay, I am only doing this job, I'm happy, this is what I'm supposed to do, these environmental conditions are not in our hands, we are 100% responsible for all the environmental issues that are going on.
Sure.
So these are the main things. So what can I do? The major, most important question is, today, what can I do to make something really useful out of my life, to make my tomorrow better?
Nice. Yes. Yeah.
So
I
that
think
is something that you need to ask.
so. Probably just adding a little bit about the little informations that I was fed into by my own parents was, this first question is, now what? And these two words is such a devastating word if your life, and when you are stuck with a situation like this, any of the situation, good situation or bad situation, this is a killer syndrome question, I guess. And that brings you to a neutralized state. You are super excited, okay, done. Or if you're super sad, then it elevates you, because that starts the next question. Actually, the next question is adding a suffix to this word. Now what? Like this. Okay. And again, there is no extra question. She just adds on two more words, and this is something I feel, it's the biggest weapon anyone can have when you are at a distress level, at a absolutely a zero level or of negative level. So the first question is, now what? Now what? Next question is, now what, like this? And the third question is, till when? And done. So I leave that question because sometimes there are a lot of people who can argue, but when I go back to my parents, these are like one-liners or one word, and you have no idea what is the next two words going to add up, and you will be dead. You'll feel like committing suicide on this. But just look at this. Now what? Like this. Till when? And it keeps on rotating. When you say till when, this one, and now what? Again, so it makes you move on to that gut feeling. Okay, now start it. This is your time. So I think, the show was more about learning from you. The show was more about, understanding the kind of hurdles and the
But I want to
challenges.
add this point that you said. This is very important thing that you highlighted. This, especially the third point. Till when? And this
Yeah,
comes because this people miss out is because we as human beings look for validation and certainty. Certainty. When certainty is not there, people go haywire.
yeah,
They look for certainty. They look for no risk factor everywhere. Be it relationship, you are looking for certainty. In job, you are looking for certainty. In health,
correct.
you are looking for certainty. You are looking for guarantee. Till when? So there is nothing in this earth that is guaranteed. There is no certainty of anything. There is no certainty of life. What certainty are you looking for? So
But I
that's a
think
very
the
beautiful point.
certainty, I think, is answered by Bhagavad Gita. And that one line you started this entire thing is, death is the 100% guaranteed thing that you're going to receive.
Yes, that's a closing statement. Fine. So that is what I said. When life itself is temporary, how can problems be permanent? And how can you look for certainty anywhere?
Amazing. And I think this is one of the, the most interactive sessions happened today. And I'm so happy and I'm so honored that, I was able to invite you and you were able to give your, valued time in here. So Som, thank you once again for being in the show. But let me tell you, this is not the end. There are possibilities,
Definitely.
but trust me, I do not want to take such kind of avenues and make one more thing. I do not want ourselves to be locked in and I go punching in back to back with interviews. I really don't want that. I mean, you understood that other part of it. But yes,
Yes.
if it is something, if life permits, and if there is a day outside tomorrow, I would like to invite all the people who I've interviewed, thank them personally, hug them in spite of whatever shit happens. I'm okay with that,
Thank you.
right?
And the thing that you are doing, the intention, the message, basically, the message you are trying to say is nothing is impossible and human spirit is infinite. So, what you think you can achieve, even if there are problems, we will go through the problems. You cannot jump over the problems. So, that's a beautiful thing. And thank you for inviting me to your show and having this discussion. It was great.
Thank you so much. It was definitely a pleasure for me indeed. And audiences, you have this privilege of actually reaching out back to her. She will be tagged definitely with some other places. And if you have any questions, please feel free to talk to us. And I think she will not say no, but any questions if you have, please feel free
Anytime.
to reach out, because this is something which is beyond just the business, because this is all about how you live better than yesterday. Thank you so much for
So,
being
it's
with me. So
basically intensifying humanity. You're doing that.
absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you.